Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. My name is Derek Strauss and I'm with Gavroshe. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Nasser Mooman. Nasser is from the Great American Insurance Company that's up in Cincinnati. And I've had the pleasure of actually doing some work up there some years back. So Nasser, great to see you and great to meet you.
Nice meeting you as well, Derek. Thank you for taking the time and interviewing with me.
Excellent. Nasser, we're going to be talking about a fascinating topic here, which is specific about the insurance industry. I think, as many of our viewers will know, the insurance industry has come a long way in the past. It's one of the oldest industries out there, and it's constantly looking for ways to modernize and to kind of almost reinvent itself.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of great innovation that is coming out of that sector. And one of the things that obviously is of note right now is artificial intelligence and specifically some of the more advanced things, the Gen AI that's starting to affect every industry.
Yeah.
And the insurance industry, of course, is looking to find ways to transform its business using some of these new tools.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So I think what we want to try and do is to, hone in on that and give our viewers a little bit more of a flavor of what's been going on in that segment.
Absolutely.
And why don't we start by just getting a little bit of an understanding of some of your experiences in this area before you came to Great American. So if we can kind of just focus on that and talk about your career from the early days of like expert systems way back through to the current day, and
Yeah.
some of the interesting things that you saw during that time leading up to your current job at Gen AI.
Absolutely.
With Gen AI at
Absolutely.
Great American.
Thank you, Derek. Absolutely. I think I'm one of the most fortunate, lucky person to be in this particular domain. I chose chosen computer science or computer engineering a long time ago as my first, interest. And here we go now from, chips all the way into, to generative AI. So I think my background is in computer engineering. So I have a good, solid hardware, electronic engineering background, and that helped me quite significantly understand the underlayer, how to understand computer, how computer works. And I moved away into moved up, I guess, into computer science, where I finished my master's degree in Canada at the University of Regina. And when I did a little bit of research, was more on synchronizations, images and sound. So I'm in kind of close into, imaging and sounds and technology for a long time, but AI wasn't that particular. Popular at that time is more theory, rough sets and expert system, if you recall that. And I went to industrial when the dot-com started with Y2K, if you recall that. So that gave me more interest, excitement, and be part of people who solve problems. And I ended up doing my PhD in multi-agent system, applying reinforcement learning at University of Waterloo, Canada. And that's where the horizon has opened for me to understand the depth of AI and AI applications in a more mathematical base and understanding. Over the years, I had the opportunity to work for various industrials, such as Xerox, BlackBerry, we used to be one of those lead technology early on. As well as I worked for some of startup companies in .com era as well. I think that allows me to be in the path of technology evolvement. So that's what I'm saying. I'm lucky and fortunate because I'm in the same path and technology evolve as we go. from the internet revolution, if you recall, in the 90s, early 90s, all the way into the mobile. And now the new revolution of technology is generative AI and AI in particular. And then I have an experience to work in both academic domains as well hands-on and industrial. So I was a faculty member at Rochester Institute of Technology for a couple of years. But I am an engineer foremost, so that's me. I need to have more kind of engineering hands-on, see what I do, and working with a lot of intelligent and colleagues across diverse backgrounds. So I worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield, BlackBerry. I had my own startup company in Waterloo, biomedical devices. With COVID, as you might all know, has a significant impact, especially in biomedical industrial, because our core clients and customers are hospitals. So that's where I looked around and I found the Great American Insurance Group looking for data scientists, team to build team as a manager. I learned a lot about Great American Insurance Group. Definitely, this is before generative AI kicks in, even though the papers and the theory and the research are way ahead, but I think is bringing that from theory into touchable, tangible result that we all benefit. As you might know, one thing about insurance in general is what we call is a domain that is currently applying generative AI to tap on to utilize historical legacy data and where generative AI will be the best position to apply it within the insurance domains, industrial.
Yeah. So as you were busy going through that, I was thinking to myself, you've probably encountered a lot of very interesting use cases leading up to the time that you joined Great American. And I was wondering if you could maybe share some of the most interesting use cases that you came across in that period prior to Great American, as well
Absolutely.
as some
Yeah.
of the big challenges that you came up against, during that time.
Absolutely. I think if we go back, since we're in this particular technology, we started with the internet, and then we started with the mobile revolution, and then if you recall, a couple of years back, we started with IoT technology. That's another scope of it, and then the cyber or the Bitcoin. That's another, the data mining. So maybe I will recall one of the use cases in which I utilize my background in electronic or computer engineering and AI. And when we had the startup company in Waterloo that based on biomedical devices, and that particular product or idea is to design a smart or intelligent mattress that sits on the top of hospital mattresses to detect or classify pressure ulcer for patients who are bedridden. And that technology that we built from scratch is driven by IoT technology. And what we did actually is, since my background is electronic engineering, we did what we call IoT driven AI, which is really, that's before generative AI, that mainly the scope of designing a sensor microcontroller that has an AI model that will classify and predict whether, it depends on type of sensors, the sensors that we had on that particular mattress or smart mattress is mainly detect humidity, temperature, and pressure. And that instead of having, as we all know, we were not supposed to have a camera inside the hospital rooms due to PHI, BI, HIPAA. So to measure and to collect the data, which is, merely a heat map of the patient while he or she sits on the bed, is using sensors. And that's where we design an IoT-driven AI. So every single microcontroller, it has an AI model that will classify and detect and predict whether it's going to be a humidity or pressure. And that is, we started with pressure ulcer, but we evolved it into, as we know, whether the patient on the bed or off the bed, how many the patient, posture revolving over. That's one of the use cases that is before generative AI.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
yeah, early on we used one contract, I think a long time ago, before generative AI is when Twitter came out and Facebook early on. I think the idea that when we use followers and following and tweets and retweets and comment and post, we did graph database where we detect what we call influencer. Nowadays, influencer through TikTok and many other social media. But early on, we started with Twitter. So as you know, Twitter has following, followers, tweet, retweets. So from their type of data, we develop we call knowledge graph to determine what we call the influencer, in which companies like Nike, Starbucks will focus their advertisement based on influencer. That's two maybe use cases where we use hard embedding of IoT driven AI. Another one is more soft computing where we use social media to detect and classify influencer based on their pattern every day, which is tweet, retweet, following, so on and so forth. These are maybe the two major use cases that I was involved in. And with the IoT-driven AI, we have a patent, and we have some publications, we have a medical trial into it. So it's kind of close to my heart for sure.
Yes, wow, it sounds really interesting. Congrats on that. That was an opportunity that you saw and grabbed. Now, in terms of the challenges that you came across, AI, any new technology, as soon as you start applying it, you hit barriers, acceptance from the people, acceptance from, society at large, technology problems, etc., law, regulations, and so on. I mean, you already mentioned the whole aspect of HIPAA and so on being one of the things that you had to make sure that you're, careful about. You must have hit a number of issues along the way. Can you maybe elaborate on some of those?
Absolutely. So I think through the internet revolution, as we know, there is social acceptance challenge at that time, for going from normal computer paper all the way into the internet and into the mobile. So as you might know, these particular two technology is part of our life. We can't live without them, which is mainly they have the internet. Yeah, there we can't survive without it. The same thing for the mobile. We have a mobile. We have some apps. We all like different kind of apps, but the framework of both the internet and the mobile, it's there. Everyone must have. That's the idea of that is across the globe. It doesn't matter what your income, what your ethnic group, what your background, what your education level. These are, I would say, I don't have a number, the percentage of humanity using the internet and the mobile, but the percentage is significantly growing as we go. And that's what we see the next coming in the AI. It's going to be a framework that we're going to use. But there are, of course, any technology that we see the same way when we saw the internet, the same way when we saw the mobile, the IoT, there's always a challenge. So the challenge has a different segment or different level or different categories. Starting, as you said early on, when we have the internet and even the AI, at that time we have two issues as a researcher. One is the speed on the hardware, which is now resolved through a lot of NVIDIA, a lot of GPU, and that's resolved now. And the second issue we had in the past actually is data. So that's how you're going to access data. Before even HIPAA was initiated, and these particular two domains has been resolved already because we have data whether we are optionally or by collecting it by choice or by business. I mean, we go to social media, all of us, we provide our information by clicking all the videos and following and liking. Behind the scene, all the information are collected. Sometimes we collect data as a business, the same what That's where the insurance are, I would call the mine of all type of data, because we have data, legacy data and new data. Essentially, we collected like, normal claims, or sometimes we use it as part of, as part of daily life. Now, the challenge with the technology, as any other technology, is in AI and before. So I mentioned the issue we had in the past. Now, with the AI, it comes with a lot of benefit and usability, optimization, make life easier, more accurate, speed. Now it comes into like anything we have in life. We could use it in a good application and in good harmful application. And in that way, I'd say the challenge, or the biggest challenge that we see, and that's where Great American have done an exceptional job by doing data governance and then ethical railguard around how we use the data, how we use the AI, and most importantly is every single AI model that has to have a human in the loop, because our job is to simplify life, not to replace a human or underwriters or adjusters or agent, but make life easy. So we give them enough cushion and a platform to make a decision. So that's one of the challenges, is ethic railguard. So that's where we know bias toward gender, ethnic, the bias of the model itself. If you use any model, you could use some data where it's divert the accuracy toward preferences, and then we have to make sure that model is go through audit, through security, through ethic assessment, and then the model doesn't sit by itself, but rather has to be evaluated, continue integration, integration, evaluation, and auditing as the model being deployed in production. So this kind of one of the another challenge actually is the trust word of adoption. How could we allow our adjusters, underwriters, agents, our members, our client adopt technology in a way that we're not overwriting, we're not collecting data. We try to enhance our life, your life, safety, and then accurately without harming or collecting data, to use it in a bad way, or to classify somebody in an ethic, in not ethically way.
Right. Yeah. Such important things that you've highlighted there in terms of how to really make sure that AI gets adopted in the right way. But I think let's pause at this point in time. I think we've laid a nice groundwork for our listeners. Hopefully, it's piqued everyone's interest, because this is just segment one of 3 parts that we're going to be publishing out there for our listeners. So if this is the first time that you've signed on to this interview with Nasser, then keep your eyes open, because there's going to be a part 2 and a part 3. But for now, the two of us are signing out, and we'll see you shortly.
Thank you.